This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
What a beautiful general sighting with quite a lot of different species feeding together. A very, very good afternoon. And most of all, welcome to the beginning of the afternoon game drive. This is Sydney from Niconico, and I'm traveling with Jandre, who is my camera operator this afternoon. We will try by all means and get you see a lot of interesting animals. And for in case if you want to talk to us, you can follow us on Twitter, #SafariLive. You can also follow us on YouTube chat stream. So you can see that here I have got the beautiful zebras, and these zebras are feeding very closely with the impalas. So when the impalas and zebras are feeding together like this, it means they are having kind of a dependency. And most of all, welcome to the beginning of your game drive, boys and girls. You can ask your teachers to ask us questions on Twitter, #SafariLive. So you can see the zebras are those ones with the stripes, and the impalas are the ones which are much more brown. You can see that we are seeing both these two different species at the same time. So zebras, they prefer tall grass, and the impalas, they eat both tall grass, short grass, and sometimes they also eat the leaves from these trees. So when there's even a nyala, is another animal crossing as well there. So I am seeing the nyala, I'm seeing the impala, and the zebras. There's even a kudu as well at the back, right at the same place. This is an interesting general game viewing sighting. Near an impala is this very medium-sized animal you are seeing with the three stripes at the back and also the three-dimensional colors on the side of their bodies. This is what we call an impala. And amongst the impalas, only the males carry horns. The females don't carry horns at all. So these are one of those species which don't really battle too much when it comes to the diet because they are not selective, they are not specific. They can feed on both grasses and leaves. It's quite a lot of them. Impalas, it's very rare to see them solitary. A solitary animal is those animals you normally see walking just by themselves. Yes, we do see them not very often. Most of the times you will see impalas walking in herds. A group of impalas together is called a herd. But it depends on what is happening in the herd. When you see the group of impalas, females with the babies is a nursery herd. Camila, I didn't get your question very well, but what I can promise you is that the distance where these animals are looking for food, the distance when animals are looking for the diet, sometimes it can be shorter, sometimes it can be very long. It depends on the season. By this time of the year, the vegetation or the grasses are just everywhere. There's no need for them to travel long distances. But apart from that, the water points are also very important because these animals are so very much water dependent. They've got to come and eat the grass and go and also drink water. So during the dry season, winter season, when the water is dry by some of the dams, is when the traveling can then take long distances. Noah, that is quite a great question, and thank you very much for that. The impalas, they are grazers. It means they eat grass. And sometimes they browse. Animals which browse, it means they eat leaves. The zebras are grazers. It means they eat grass. And grazers and browsers, these animals falls under a category called the herbivores. So it means herbivores are the animals who feed on vegetation. So unfortunately, the zebras cannot eat the impalas. And here, they don't really have a competition. They can both feed together for the benefit of both, because when they're feeding together like we're seeing now, this is a mutualistic relationship. They are helping each other in order to detect the predators. So the zebras are one of those animals which are popular when it comes to the eyesight. Truma, the impalas, if you can bring that question back again, just hear something, the impala, to do with the ecosystem. That is a great question. The impalas affect the ecosystem in the following manner. Impalas are part of the grazers and browsers, as I indicated. When these animals are grazing, is when they are stimulating the growth for the grasses. Yes, too much grazing or too much feeding on the same place can pressurize the vegetation. The trees, they have to be defoliated. It means an animal has to come and eat a tree so that the tree can be able to also stimulate growth. So these animals helps a lot when they're feeding on these grasses because they also control what is called a fuel. A fuel is type of the old plant material which can cause danger when there is fires in the bush. So when animals are feeding, they are minimizing what is called a fuel load. So this bush, if it's not eaten by the animals, it can again tend to become dangerous to itself when there is fires, because the fires can have quite a lot of fuels which will then affect the trees negatively as it will burn everything. So at least when the animals are eating, they are keeping the fuel load minimal. So the impala we are seeing now, you can see with the long horns there, those are the males. The females, they don't have horns at all. You can see that one holding the horns right now, passing by. Look at those very beautiful horns. So here I can see that we have got a group of females and the little ones, and at the same time we have got a group of the males as well nearby. So the males together, they do form the groups which are called the bachelor hen. But now it's time for me to send you to my other friend who is also about to start on a game drive.
Afternoon, kids. My name is Deirdre, and I'm also here with the Sydney Njuma Private Game Reserve. Very hot this afternoon, and what hot means is that the animals tend to prefer to look for some shade. So while we drive, we're going to look for the animals under the trees, in areas where it's not too hot for them. But we have seen something all the way across this way. And let me, it was some wildebeest. And sometimes they're called gnu. And I want all of you to practice with me, and the teachers are going to tell me if you did a good job. They make a funny sound and they go gnu, gnu. So I want all of you to try that, and the teachers are going to have us, they're going to tell us if you did a good job or not. There they are. Should we go onto the, okay. They look like they might be coming down to drink, so hang on tight. We just driving our 4x4 Land Rover over onto the dam wall, and then there's another creature that I want you to look out for. He maybe lives here, and he's grey and pink. Send us your guesses and we'll see if we see him. He generally holds his breath. He goes underneath the water, and then as soon as he comes up, his little ears wiggle and all the water droplets come flying off, and he takes a breath. So let's see who's here. So on the other side of the dam wall we have those blue wildebeest. And you can see there, they're in the patch of shade underneath the tree. They're a little bit far away from where I am, so I'm having a look at the camera, and you can tell boy wildebeest from girl wildebeest by having a look at the horns on the top of the head, if they've got a very thick area across the top and it's joined in the middle, and generally their ears are within their horns, that's a nice male. And if their horns are a little bit smaller and longer than their horns, so they stick out further than their horns, that tends to be a female. So you see there, they actually have stripes. That's why they call them brindled. That means stripes. And you can see there they're flicking their tails, and that's because it's so hot today. The flies are bothering them. The flies are looking for any moisture, and obviously they tickle a little bit, and that's why their tails are moving so much. Good question, Camden. How do animals keep from getting sunburnt? What they do is they'll come down to the waterhole like this, and they'll actually roll around in the mud. So you think about a warthog. I'm sure all of you know Pumbaa. He likes mud baths. He'll come down here and he'll splash and he'll cover himself in the mud, and he'll even use that mud like a nice body scrub to get rid of any of the ticks and parasites. But that mud is nice and cool, and when that dries, it traps the moisture against his skin and helps him stay cooler for longer. For elephants, they often use sand. If you've ever seen an elephant pick up sand with their trunk, throw it over their head and just keep covering themselves, that's also a form of sun protection. And other animals, if they're not that lucky, like termites and things, they try and stay underground until it gets dark. If we're panning across, there's a beautiful bird. So Genevieve is asking, how do wildebeest use their horns for self-defense? So it's two things. They generally, because the calf, when it's born, they're born out in the open areas. The horns on the female are used to defend it from predators, but generally small predators. Animals like cheetah and jackal, they're prepared to chase those away. But if it's a big animal like a lion, then they must just run as fast as they can. So that bird that you're seeing now is called a grey heron. So you can see the type of beak it's got, a long stabbing beak. This one likes to catch fish, and he got a big advantage. I know if any of you are tall in your class, you know you're able to reach to the top shelf. Having long legs for the heron also allows it to wade into deeper water so that it doesn't compete with smaller waders on the edge. There you go, you can see him picking up some water and also preening his feathers. That's very, very important for a bird, to constantly preen and clean their feathers. They need to make sure that they're maintained and well oiled, because that's what they need to escape from predators. They need their feathers to be working so that they can fly. Oh, great, it sounds like Sydney's got some zebra for you.
So you can see I'm still here together with the zebra, who are very much stationary at the moment. I can see that the sun is very hot for these animals, and they are all now standing just under the shades. The zebras we're seeing here and the impalas at the back as well, both of them are just now standing under the shade. When it's too hot sometimes, this is what the animals do. Here there's some two impalas who are cleaning each other just behind these beautiful zebras here. You will see right at the back there. The zebras can be able to go for approximately 60 kilometers per hour. So they can go very much fast. And what I like about them is their defense mechanism. These are not easy animals to hunt because they can kick very well And when he's turning to the right, you have to be careful on the left. When he's turning to the left, you got to be careful on the right. So zebras can be able to kick nicely, and they've got a very nice one solid hoof. So each leg has got just one. They are not like the impalas. The impalas has got two hoofs, and zebras, they've got just one hoof, which is very solid and hard. So you can see the zebra now is having some grazing there. Carry the zebras, unfortunately, they are born with stripes. So immediately after birth, you will see them already having the stripes. The only difference between when they're born and now is that when they're born, the stripes will still look a little bit much lighter. But as time goes on, is then that you will see the color starting to dominate the dark. So now, as I'm talking, these ones we are seeing, these are all adults. You can see the very nice, well-developed black stripes and the white stripes and some of the yellowish shadows on the stripes. So the zebras always look dirty a little bit, but not all the zebras looks like that. This is a species which has got kind of a yellowish shadow on the stripe called the butcher zebra. So when a group of zebra is like this, you must know, normally you will find one male called a stallion. He will be then having a family together with the females, which are called the mares. And the young males, we call them the colts. So if you look at how these zebras are standing now, normally when the animals are threatened, this is how they stand. One faces the other side, whereas the other one faces the opposite side, so that they can easily see if there is any predators stalking them from a distance. So now I am going to carry on and see if I can find you the other interesting animals. There is quite a lot of animals here where I am. It's just that the weather condition is hot a little bit at the moment, but I am going to try. So I am hoping to see something big. The zebras, each one of them has got its own stripe pattern. The stripes are not identical. The stripes are more like our fingerprints. So to us, it looks the same, but there is a slight difference. So zebras, each one of them has got its own stripe. So those stripes, they help these zebras a lot when the sun is hot, because the black stripes mostly, they absorbs the heat, whereas the white stripes will be reflecting the heat at the same time. So I'm trying to check here to see if we can see the big ones, the elephants. So now let's cross over to the Masai Mara, where Lauren, my friend, is waiting to start.
Good afternoon, everybody. We're sorry about that. We have had a little tricky time with communication, but we are here. And believe it or not, there is a lioness up ahead. Now, it's not going to be too easy, but let me get a view for you. My name is Lauren, and on camera, I have Bungie. So it's not going to be the best view at the minute. We're in a little bit of a tricky area. In fact, it's probably going to be terrible. But let's see if my fantastic cameraman can get you a view of this lioness that is walking. And there we go. Isn't he just amazing? So we've just found this lioness. She's on the move and we don't actually know who she is. We're very familiar with a lot of the prides of lions around here, but we haven't been able to work out exactly who she is yet, or indeed where she is off to. She is most likely looking for the rest of her pride, so hopefully if we can follow her for a little bit, she will lead us to more lions. Female lions do tend to stay together very closely as a pride. So she's definitely looking out for something. Can you see that? The way she's standing with her ears up like that. There's definitely something on her mind. I'm just not sure what it is. So don't forget to ask us questions. That's what we're here for. Just ask your teachers. Hopefully your questions are not too difficult and we will be able to answer them, of course. There was a question, but unfortunately, we are not receiving very good communications. So I am not going to be able to answer that question at the minute, so I'm very, very sorry about that. Okay, I think I got the question. I could be wrong, but shall we give it a go? So Noah is asking what sizes, I really hope that's your question, Noah, or I'll be in big trouble answering a question that I've just made up all by myself. What sizes are lions? Well, they're actually not as big as you would think they are. They're really, really not that tall. The male lions are slightly bigger than the females, just a little over a meter tall. So this is normally the measure from the feet, the bottom of the feet to the shoulder, the top of the shoulder, and it's normally just a little over 1 meter for a male lion, just a little bit shorter for a female. Now in feet, that would probably be just a little bit over 3 feet. So they're really not that tall, but they are muscular, and that's what they're built for. They're built for power. So not tall animals, but very, very strong and muscular. Now I have lost sight of our beautiful lioness. I'm sure you have too. So I think that means we need to move and try and see if we can catch up with her again. Now there are other vehicles, I'm afraid. We're not alone at this wonderful lioness sighting. Somebody, I'm only getting every second or third word. I'm not sure I can even attempt that. Let me hear it one more time, Nina, and see if I can try and guess what the question is. Kennedy. Aha, Kennedy, what is a lion's prey? I'm getting it. I'm getting there. Lions are carnivores, which means they eat meat, so they do eat other animals, and they can prey on anything from a small antelope up to a huge buffalo. Now, out here in the Mara, it's a little bit different from South Africa, and they do tend to really love buffalo up here. But buffaloes are big animals. It's not very easy for one lioness to take down a buffalo. Normally, they actually work together. So they prey on other animals, I'm afraid. They are said to be the kings of the carnivores. And unfortunately, there is another vehicle in front. So I'm not going to be able to get you another view of this lioness right now. But we are going to stay with her to see where she's going. And we do have 2 male lions nearby that we're going to show you in a little while as well. But this vehicle, sadly, is blocking our view. Or maybe not. Let's see. Bungie is an amazing cameraman. So let's see what he can do. Aha, there we go. I told you. Isn't he just great? So she's still on the move. Is that another lioness up ahead? Let me just see. I've not got the best eyesight. Ah, it is. There we go. We have 2 lionesses that I can see, but most likely, I believe there's probably more. But because the grass is so tall here, and my eyesight is terrible, I can only see 2. Now you can see they're facing each other, and I believe this is what this lioness was looking for. She was looking for the others. There you go. How fantastic is this? And really, really not far away are two males sleeping in the sun. So we will try and see if we can catch up with them too. But for now, we're going to send you all the way down to South Africa to see what Deirdre is up to.
Look who we have here. Here come the ears, the eyes, and the nostrils. Kids, meet Scuba Steve. Oh, we're a little bit shy today. Maybe he's a bit camera shy. So what you noticed, one of the earlier questions was, do animals get sunburn? And that's exactly one of the reasons why Steve spends the entire day in the water. Is the sun is too hot for him. So he prefers to wallow in his swimming pool the whole day, and then at night time he'll come out the water, and believe it or not, as big as he is, all he's going to do is eat grass. So he'll walk kilometers or miles at night time looking for grass. And Steve is a territorial bull, which means he's the only one that lives in this pan as a bull. And he will mark his territory all the way on the outside so that other bulls will know that it is occupied. So you can see the pink, you can see the eyes, and you can see his nose. So very clever design, everything on the top, so he can keep the maximum amount of his body underneath the water. Any guesses how long he can hold his breath? So Malia is asking, do hippos breathe underwater? And not actually. You can see as soon as he goes down, he actually closes his nostrils. But he's got such big lungs, he can actually hold his breath for about 6 minutes. I don't want any of you to turn blue, but just think about if you had to hold your breath for 6 minutes. It would be very, very difficult. So he'll go underneath the water. He doesn't really see very well under the water. That's a bit dark and grey and green under there, so he doesn't see much, but he's actually just sleeping. So he's keeping his ears out the water so he can hear us. He definitely knows we're here, and that's why he keeps checking up on us every now and again. If we able to go in close, if he wants to lift his head some more, you can actually see all the little whiskers on his nose. And those, when he's walking around in the dark, he'll actually use those for smell. And then he can feel with his whiskers and his lips where the grass is. Oh, he had a bit of water in his ear there. Oh, we had two answers there, one of 5 minutes and one of 10 minutes. So very close, almost in the middle. So 6 minutes roundabout. We'll give you 5. The other two birds there making a lot of noise are a pair of Egyptian geese, and they call them Egyptian. If you look at the eye makeup around the eye, they've got a beautiful ring around the eye. Like the pharaohs from Egypt. And we don't see it now, but if they climb out the water, they also have a single dot on the front of their chest. So they'll also be territorial, very, very feisty, and not let any other pairs come to the water. And they'll defend that by, there you can see the dot nicely now. And the underside of their wings there, you're seeing a little bit of white when they want to make sure that everybody knows it's their territory. If there's another pair flying past, they'll open their wings and keep the white flash there and say to the other Egyptian goose that it is occupied. So, talking about a flash, somebody else that generally runs with their tail in the air, a warthog with Sydney.
you can see at the moment I have got something different. This is what is called a warthog. I know a lot of people have seen this kind of an animal, as is also very popular by the name Pumba. The warthog is this one. You can see now that when it's looking at us, you can see those kind of tooth coming out. And the males, if you look at them, they have got two warts. If you see this warthog on the face here, you've got some of the protruding meat coming out here on the side of the face. If you look at that, you will see that that protruding flesh is what you can use to distinguish between the male and the female. So normally the warthogs, they prefer to do mud wallowing. When it's hot like this, they come and roll in mud here so that they can lower the body temperature. They are omnivores. These animals, they feed on both grass and meat. So it's one of those animals which can be able to hear very well. When the warthogs are threatened, you will see when trying to escape danger, they lift up their tails to communicate with the other sounder members. A group of the warthogs together, we call it a sounder. So to communicate with the members of the sounder, they lift up the tail so that the little ones can use the tail as a follow me sign. So these animals, most of them, they stay under the ground. So they go and found the holes which has been dug by the other animals, make them proper and stay under the ground. Fatima, the warthogs, they are not selective. These animals, they are part of the omnivores. Omnivores are the animals who feed on both plants and meat. So the warthogs, a high percentage of their diet is on grasses, but they do eat meat. There is another species which confuses people with the warthogs called the bush pig. The bush pig is the one which is also omnivore, but high percentage of the diet on the other one is more on meat than the vegetation like this one. So the bush pig is unlike the warthogs. So if you look at the warthogs has got little hairs. The bush pig I'm talking about has got a lot of hairs. And the bush pigs, they are bigger than the warthogs. The warthogs, they look much more smaller. So you can see how the animals can easily get disappeared within the grasses. Karen, I didn't copy your question very nicely. If you can repeat that question. The warthogs, they are like these other animals. When these animals identify danger, they do consider what is called a flight distance. A flight distance is a distance where these animals allow their predators to approach before they run to safety. If they see that now the animal is coming much closer, is when they will then run away from danger. So they don't really go and challenge the predators. They normally avoid and run away from danger. So I can see that the warthog, the sighting is disappearing. I'm just going to carry on and see if we can find you more other interesting animals. I think I hear the elephant trumpeting when we're talking there, this side. So I am going to see if we can find some elephants. I heard some noise this side. I'm not too sure yet if it... So we might be lucky with the big ones much more this side. I heard some noise, but I'm not sure if it was the elephants, but I want to investigate that. So now let's go back to the hippopotamus.
Snorkels there, yeah.
Yes.
Well, just as we said, they hold their breath for about 6 minutes. Another one popped out, which means his girlfriend is here with him today, Snorkel Sarah. But they've gone shy again, so we just wait. Hopefully not for 6 minutes. But they were very interested in us earlier. It's a pretty lazy hippo, that. Oh, there we go. That's one. So a hippo, you're only seeing a little piece of the hippo. If the whole hippo was out the water, he'd be about 2 tons. Oh, Lacey, I think I've just answered your question. They're around about 2 tons, which means like 2,000 kilograms, or just over 4,000 pounds. So pretty heavy. You definitely wouldn't want to invite him across to your house for dinner. There you can see the little whiskers on his nose too. There we go. There they both come out together. So how you tell boys from girls, it's very difficult. But generally, if you've got a few together, the biggest ones are the males. So I'll try and tell you which one is Steve and which one is Sarah when they both pop up again. We also... oh, that's Sarah. She's a little bit smaller. Sorry, I got Selena was asking a question. I didn't copy the whole question. Do they have predators, is what I understand from Seb, the cameraman. So there isn't really predators of hippos because they are so large. So you would think a baby hippo would be vulnerable to something like a crocodile because they share the water. And a crocodile is also a predator. But the advantage that the baby hippo has is that he's got a big mama that protects him or her from the crocodiles. Obviously, because they go out grazing at night, right from very little, the hippo has to walk right behind the mother, following it while it's feeding. They are vulnerable to lions, but then again, lions definitely think twice when it comes to picking on a hippo. You can see some terrapins here, Seb. Yes. So we've got just in front of us here, also just a snorkel, is the nose of a terrapin. You can just see his nostrils sticking out there. So we've just been speaking about one of the possible predators of hippo. So we're going to send you up to Mara.
Well, you'll never believe what those 2 lionesses did. They both were staring at each other for a long time, and they just walked up to one another, nuzzled their head into each other, and lay flat on the grass. And the grass is so long that we could no longer see them. So the fact that they showed so much love and affection to one another means that they know each other. So most likely, these 2 lionesses are from the same pride. But now they're flat as pancakes, and we can no longer see them. So we're now going to take you to 2 male lions. So you're going to be able to see the difference between what a female lion looks like and her size, and what a male lion looks like and his size. They look very different, of course. I'm sure you all know that. So that's where we're driving to now. It was a little bit sad that our lioness decided to lie down, but it's very, very hot right now. Very hot. So sometimes animals like lions and leopards and even your cheetah, sometimes they just get a bit too hot in the sun that they just need to take some rest until it gets that little bit cooler. And that's exactly what those lioness did, I'm afraid. So it's not too far away until we find our males, but we do have to travel just a little bit until we get there. And hopefully they're still in the same place. They were sound asleep, snoring their heads off earlier when we found them. So I do hope that they're in the exact same place right now. But we've just got to get out of this tricky bit before we find them. So while I get there, I'll go as fast as I can. We're going to send you down to Sydney, who has some elephants.
I am so very lucky, as I have indicated earlier, that I have heard something here, and it was more like the elephants. And here are the elephants. These elephants, they are very much stationary feeding. I can see there's even little ones at the moment, and the sun is very much hot. When the sun is hot, the little ones sometimes they do walk underneath the stomach of the mothers. So these elephants are heading much more towards that direction. So we will have a good visual on them. I can see that they're now starting to move around. So let me just try to reverse so that I can give you the best sighting. So they are all very much busy at the moment. So you can see there we have got those two who are just playing. Jaden, the elephants, they've got big ears in order to thermoregulate these bodies. The elephants, unfortunately, they don't sweat, and because of that, they use the ears as part of their cooling system. When the elephants are moving the ears backwards and forwards, is when they are cooling the veins, which are supporting when it comes to the blood transport around these bodies to cool the body temperature. So it's quite an amazing system. I'm just going to go around here now again and see if we can have a better sighting again. These elephants, they are moving too much. Yeah, I think for you to see these elephants better, I must have to come back much more this side. This elephant has got very big body and a very small tail, and the tail is there in order to chase away the flies when they are walking. So unfortunately that tail cannot cover the sides. It can only help them at the back. When it comes to the sides, elephants, they use what is called a rubbing post. A rubbing post is one of the branches from the trees here, mostly the dead branches. They come and they use them to scratch in order to get rid of the parasite. You can see there's a small baby there right on the side of that elephant. These are the babies which can be able to fit underneath the stomach when they are working with these adults. When it's too hot to prevent sunburn of them, the adults can put them underneath. So this is quite a very beautiful sighting. Look at that. You can see the ears. Look at that ear. It looks like an African map. It's telling you that this African elephant. Look at that. Now that elephant wants to show you both ears to show you that the ears looks like is resembling the African continent. So the elephants normally by this time of the day is when they're going to the water holes in order to swim and play in mud and to drink as well. So you can see these elephants, they are feeding, but they are just moving from cover to cover. The elephants are very much strong. Elephants are so very much powerful, and they can be able to step on trees and just break them. And sometimes they push them from the head. They also push them from the back. These animals can be so very much powerful. So you can see the little one is coming out there. And this little one is coming out just to say goodbye to all of you, and thank you very, very much for all your questions and comments. You have been very great, and hopefully we will meet you again. So look at that. You can see now these elephants are coming together. So it means it's not a very small herd. The others are around here, because I can see these other ones are coming from the other side of the road. So elephants also got a very lovely greeting ceremony. So when they meet in the morning, you will see them greeting each other and even pushing each other, little ones playing as well. So you can see it's quite a lot of elephants right behind this bush, but we can't see them. So at the moment, the bush is very much thick, which makes it very difficult for us to see these animals. You can easily pass these big animals behind these bushes. So you can see the little ones are now playing at the moment. Look at that. I can hear one of the elephants is doing some mud wallowing. I want to drive forward so that we can see. I can hear the water splashing somewhere here. So now let's quickly go to one of my colleagues who is also driving at the moment.
Afternoon, everybody. My name is Deirdre, and you are joining me here in Djuma Private Game Reserve. Beautiful, very hot day today. We're sitting at 33 degrees and about 92 Fahrenheit. So really, really warm. We've been driving around, but we've been trying to focus on looking for things in the shade or near the water. But I have a plan today, and my plan is to look for jaws. You're probably all thinking, jaws? Yes, we're not looking for sharks. We're looking for animals with big jaws that live in the fresh water. So we're going to head across to one of the dams and see if we can find some crocodile. And because it's the water and it's so warm, we're crossing our fingers, hoping that some of the elephants might decide to come down and drink water. Oh, that's some signs. So today, this morning, some of you might have watched the drone footage, and there was a little bit of a technical gremlin, which we spent the time sorting out this morning. But I have to say, I really admire the tech guys for knowing which wires go to where, because you open up the back of these Land Rovers, and it looks like a mini substation. You could probably power a small little city with the amount of wires and buttons and everything that's got to be in the right place in order to send the signals via the cameras, via the aerials, via the radios, bouncing off repeaters and satellites. I find it very, very amazing how the signal gets from us here to all of you out there. Please don't forget that you can carry on asking us any questions on hashtag SafariLive and also in the comments section on the YouTube. So when it's a really, really hot day like it's been today, we often tend to find that the birds are really struggling. They'll be hiding, rather just trying to stay in the shade, not moving around too much, otherwise they're panting very, very heavily. And there's not too much interest to do anything. It's just too hot. Not everything has a swimming pool, so they've just got to make the best that they can do. And various ways that birds will lose heat is by a gula flutter, so they'll open their beak and then their throat will vibrate and that'll help them to keep their body a bit cooler. Obviously other animals can also choose to go for a swim, which is what we're hoping that maybe an elephant or a warthog or something else has decided to do that at the dam we're heading to. All right, I believe we're going to go up to the Mara to Lauren to get an update.
Finally, we made it to our male lions, who have not moved a muscle, I believe. One is starting to sort of itch and scratch and groom. However, they're pretty flat as it is shady and it's very, very hot right now. So, just to introduce again, my name is Lauren and I do have a Bungie on camera. So we just left two female lionesses who unfortunately our view was a little bit blocked by the vehicles in front of us, so I really wasn't able to see exactly who the lioness was, and she did meet up with another lioness and then they both went flat in the long grass, so it was impossible to get another view of them. However, we are here with our two males and I am just wondering if this is the Chelly boys, but oh, I'm just having a little urination there whilst sleeping. That's lovely, lions. It's very delightful. Never mind. So from this angle, I really cannot possibly tell you if it is. Now, one of the Chelly males, as you probably know, has a very, very short tail. And from what I can see from where I'm looking in my binoculars, the one on the right, let's see if Bungie can get us a good view, looks like it's got a short, stumpy tail. Let's just have a, yeah, that does, doesn't it? Yes, indeed. I do think this is our Chelly boys, and I do believe David might have had these boys this morning. And to be honest, it really doesn't look like they have done much with their day. Now, the days here just keep getting hotter and hotter. The heat is just incredible, and of course, the hotter it gets, the more likely the cats will be flat, because it's just too incredible for them to run around and expend all that energy in this heat. So it's very, very common to find flat lions in the grass when it is this hot. Now, we did have lions yesterday as well, and unfortunately, you know I like to give you all updates. I tried really, really hard to figure out who these boys were, and with the footage that we had and the screenshots and the photos that I took myself, just from the angles, we were not able to give a proper ID. There's a feeling that it could have been Kipuli and gang, but honestly I could not give 100% confirmation on that whatsoever. So I do apologise. I said to many of you that I would get the answers for you, and unfortunately I wasn't able to give 100% confirmation. But from here I can see that these are our two Chelly boys, and they are very often found quite close to the North Clan Den, and that's exactly where we are right now. We're really not too far away from the North Clan. And of course, this is where the boys are seeking some delightful shade from this really intense heat that we're suffering from today. So what we might do today is bumble around for a little bit, pop in to say hi to the North Clan, and then come back and see if these boys do decide to move somewhere when it gets a little bit cooler. Hopefully they do. It's always delightful when the lions decide to actually get up rather than sleep all day. And these boys are very, very interesting. They seem to be quite nomadic. We have sighted them many times before, but they do seem to be very nomadic, and they have had very interesting interactions with Kipuli in the past. So we do have footage of an incident where Kipuli actually chased both these boys off as they were trying to mate with Butternut. So it's very, very interesting, but they do seem to be quite nomadic. So here they are, two very big boys, and I would love it if the other one was facing the other way just to get a better look at this tail, because when I saw them last, the tail appeared to be quite open, almost like an open sore or an open wound. So it would be great to get a better view of that. However, that is not going to happen from this angle. Of course it's not. Lions never give you that position that you really want them to be in. But at least they've came across them, and I still just am very intrigued who those lionesses were. They are really, really not far away. And of course, they both were on their own, and they both reunited as a pair. So I do wonder who they were and where the rest of the pride are. So we probably will stay with these boys some time, just to try and see if we do get a better look of them. Then of course we will bumble along. It's not only hot for the lions, it is indeed extremely hot for us as well. So unfortunately, I'm not getting very good communication. So I do know that Nina is asking a question, but I'm not going to be able to answer that right now. So I do apologise. I'm going to have a good old look at my cable here and see exactly what is going on. Yes, Nina, I'm sorry, it's not working. I know you're trying your best, but we're stationary, and yes, I am only getting every second and third word in my earpiece. I think Bunge is getting great communications, but unfortunately I am not. I'm not sure what's going on today, but never mind. Once we get back on the road and I get clear comms, I will try and answer all the questions for you, of course. So I do apologise about that. So this is actually where we had a Magoro lioness just about 2 weeks ago with a topi kill. It's the exact same position and the exact same tree, and it's actually right next to a water source. So if these boys did get very thirsty, all they need to do is get up and the drink is right there in front of them. So it really is the ideal location for these two boys just to have their afternoon nap. So I think for now we're going to bumble on, because obviously I am not getting very good comms. So while we do that, we are going to send you back down to South Africa, to Sydney.
But yes, I am now still looking for these animals heading much more towards the border between the game reserve and the Torchwood side. I want to go and check that area. Maybe we might be lucky with some tracks for the cats. It's difficult at the moment here where I am to see the tracks because the ground is hard. It rained here about a few days ago, so the soil particles are still very much hard it's not soft yet. When it's soft is when it's easy to see the tracks. So now let's quickly go back to the elephants.
Well, Sydney, good luck tracking those cats. They might be flat cats at this point. You can see we've got a nice big elephant bull. He's just strolled out of the bushes. He seems to be a bit of a man on a mission. Quite a nice... I would say probably in his mid-30s, closer to his 40s. He's quite a big bull. He's got quite nice long tusks. You can see with today's heat his ears are working overtime, just flapping there, allowing a nice cool breeze to go past those ears. As soon as he flaps his ear forward, you can almost see the size of the veins on the back. So he's capable of enlarging those so that he can try and maintain his body temperature. We're just going to try and catch up with him. He may well be heading towards water. He's already got a water stripe across his legs, so he may have come from water, but I'm not 100% sure. He could also be following a group of females. He's definitely big enough. You can see there. Linda, I totally agree with you. He is beautiful. Every now and again you see him resting his trunk on his tusks. Their trunks are quite heavy. They can weigh sort of over 200 pounds. So if you have to carry that on your head every single day, sometimes it gets a bit much. It's easier to just put it on top of your tusk and carry it along a little bit. That seems to be exit stage left. And we'll carry on with our original plan, which was to head on to the dam. Maybe we see him there, or we find some others. So an elephant bull like him can cover very, very large home ranges, especially if they're mature bulls. They'll move over very, very large areas over different seasons and different times of the year. If they come into must and they're looking for breeding females, they can cover extremely long distances chasing after the ladies. Good luck. He looks like he's got a long, hard walk. Okay, so it sounds like Sydney hasn't had too much luck, but I'm going to send you across to Lauren, who has some sleeping cats.
Oh, apparently I am live. I did not even receive that. I do apologise. We also said we were going to leave the area, but we're a little bit backed in by traffic right now, so we are going to stay. And do you know what? Staying is no biggie at all. I will just have to get all my communications from my amazing cameraman, who did actually tell me the questions. So I'm going to reverse a little bit. You know, I always like to get back to you eventually. And I believe one of the questions was from Rosalind, who asked, how many species of lion are there? Well, there is actually only one species of lion, and that is Panthera leo, the kings of the jungle. So this is the one species of lions. However, there may be some different subspecies in different regions of the world. But out here, this is obviously the African lion, and it is Panthera leo. So I do hope that was the question that you did ask me. I'm not having a very good time today with the whole earpiece thing, but don't worry, we'll get there. We always do. So we're staying a little bit longer with these Chelly boys, and you never know. They might get up and surprise us after all. Now, lions are notorious for being very, very lazy, but actually here in the Mara, you do see lions, both males and females, might I add, actively hunting during the day. I think even Pat had the Awinos hunting buffalo around about the midday a few days ago. So you will read many, many textbooks that tell you that lions only hunt at night. And actually, you will read many textbooks that tell you that cheetahs only hunt during the day. And neither are, in fact, true. Now, of course, animals like this they have a furry coat and they're weighted down with a mane. These manes are not huge, indeed. They've still got a lot of growing to do. But of course, they will desire to avoid the midday heat. However, if they were hungry and the opportunity came up, of course, as opportunistic animals, they are going to take that. So it is sometimes funny what you read and then what you actually witness out here. It doesn't quite coincide sometimes. So I don't think these lions are looking too hungry, but indeed it would be great if they got up at some point soon. So I did receive this message. That is good. So for now, I am going to send you to someone in South Africa with a tortoise.
Well, we have something with spots, but it's not a leopard, it's a leopard tortoise. And the poor chap seems to have walked all this way to this pan, and it is dry. There is not a drop of water. He's already almost walked halfway around, hoping to find some water, and now he's on another mission. So you can actually see the shield plate coverings on his front legs. When he needs to protect himself, he'll pull his head back into his shell and then close it with those two front legs. You can even see sometimes on the back leg, you can actually see the length of the claws when he moves. Now he's actually going to come across into the open, and you can see there, you wouldn't think a tortoise would have such long nails, and here he's got to another pan, and there's no water there either. So he's really not having any luck. So this particular tortoise species in southern Africa can actually get quite large. In other areas, they can get right up to about 40 kilograms, or about 80 pounds. But here in Djuma, they generally tend to be relatively small, and that's because there's a lot of predators out here, as well as a lot of the time there's lots of fires that go through, so they do tend to be much smaller. And funnily enough, the only tortoise species that's actually capable of swimming. Oh, I hope you're going to make it. Oh, he's got a bit of he's got to put his 4x4 traction on there. Don't slide down the hill. So if a tortoise did happen to fall and land upside down on his shell, that's a very difficult thing for them. What they'd try and do would be to almost rock side to side to maybe use those nails to grip enough so that they could flip themselves back over. But always, always a challenge if he falls on his back. He's also a man on a mission, but not quite as fast as the elephant. He probably should have asked the elephant for directions to the water. Leopard lady, you are 100% correct. He can eat grass and vegetables and everything. You wouldn't really find vegetables like carrots or anything like that out here, but certainly grass and succulent plants would definitely aid in the moisture. But it is a really, really hot day out here, so even sometimes they'd like to go for a dip in the water to help cool themselves down. So he's made it to the shade, and hopefully he can find some water soon. So we're still heading across to the dam to carry on to see if we can find something at the waterhole, and we're still looking for our crocodile. There's a squirrel in the road there. Oh, as is typical on safari, you see something, it was a tree squirrel, and he is a lot more rapidly mobile than his tortoise friend, and he's just disappeared out the shot up onto the termite mound, and no more tree squirrel. There's not too much out here at the moment, still very, very warm. So as that tortoise is searching for water, so Sydney is still searching for cats. You're going to go over and join him on his search.
I am right in the middle of the search at the moment. I'm checking the border between us and the Torchwood just to see if there are no tracks around here. But so far, I haven't noticed anything. So there is no cat tracks. Yes, other animals has been here, but the cats is difficult. So I'm going to try my luck somewhere around the Chitwa. Maybe we might be lucky in that area. So the cats such as Kuchava, the areas around Chitwa is where they have last. So now I have got to change the plans as already a friend of mine, Dedre, is at the Chitwa. So I will have to go now and check the Buffalo's Hook Dam area. Maybe we might be lucky with Tingana in that area. This morning I saw some tracks, but they were not looking very fresh. There is a scat I saw, which was not that very dry, but maybe if we go back to that area now and start checking, we might be lucky with something there. Tingana has been in that area there for quite a while now, as last week I heard he was spotted somewhere around the Buffalo's Hook area. So it means he is in that area. The tracks I saw this morning, they were very large. I think it was his tracks. So the only dominating tracks here on the ground is for the elephants. So the elephant is the one. So elephant is the ones who are just moving around all these areas, different areas. I can see that there is quite a lot of different heads at the moment. The bull elephant, Rosalind, they've got to go en masse for once a year. It's a stage which has to take about 7 consecutive days. Sometimes it can go for 2 weeks. Some of the very old elephants, sometimes it can go for more than that. But it's a stage which is normally coming during the winter season. Most of these elephants, they do go en masse during the winter season. But you can also find them now off the winter season. It's normal. Don't get surprised when seeing these elephants en masse after the winter season or before the winter season. It's just that the majority of them is going there during the winter season. So when the elephants are on mast is when they can be very much temperamental and they just need a space. They easily get irritated. On the ground here by the tracks, you can also see if the elephant is on mast. If you see the tracks and the water droplets, you must know that here, if it's not just water, you must pick up that dry water droplets and sniff it. If the scent is very distinctive, you must know it means that elephant is on mast. But now, let's quickly cross over to the Masai Mara, where Lauren is having something.
Hey, how's it going? So we're still here in the same position with the lions. Well, they are not in the same position. One indeed did get up and relocated itself into the sun. But let's take a proper look, Bonge, as I want to get a little bit of a closer look at this one's tail. It's definitely the Chelly Boys and it's definitely the short-tailed one. I just wanted to see if it still had that sort of open wound on it. Not getting the perfect look from here. It seems to be a little bit hidden in the grass, but definitely when we saw this boy just the other day, actually, it was just a few days ago, the end of his stumpy little tail was completely open and red raw. So I don't know whether it's a fresh wound or whether it's some sort of scarring. Even one of the Nkuhumas that has the injury on her hip, it is actually healed very, very well, but it's healed in such a way that there's a little open gap. So it could be very similar to that. So I just wanted to take a closer look, but unfortunately, due to the grass, we're not able to get that look, I'm afraid. But it definitely is them. 100% can confirm it's them. And the other one that is lying by the tree is lying in such an adorable way. I don't know why. It's very, very cute the way this male is lying. And he does indeed look extremely comfortable. Look at that. What I would do to be under that tree right now, I couldn't tell you. Now, it's been very busy with traffic here, which is why we actually haven't left and haven't gotten very far. But it was indeed worth the wait because we did get to see that boy stand up and see exactly who he is. And it's definitely them. So it's always worth the wait sometimes to stick it out and see what the animals will do. Now, a funny thing that some of you will laugh at, Bungay just asked me, is Jandre now presenting? Because Deirdre sounds very like Jandre and he got the fright of his life and he thought that Jandre was now presenting instead of being a cameraman. So I'm not going to send you to Jandre, but I am going to send you down to Deirdre.
So apparently we get asked, why is Jandre presenting? Sounds like Deirdre, but it's me, Deirdre. And we're here with some very thirsty zebra. They've just come down to drink. They just started to drink, and then the wind picked up suddenly, and they got uncomfortable, and now they've turned around and moved off. So there is also a crocodile in the water, probably about 20 feet from the zebra. We've just seen it go down as soon as the zebras came to the water. Admittedly, it's not a very big crocodile, so I think if he thought he was going to take on a zebra, it might be too large for him. But then, sorry to say it, Mum, but there is a baby zebra in amongst there. But that was a very, very quick drink. They came down very comfortably. The baby was the only one that was hesitating. And then as soon as the wind started to blow, they all decided to leave the edge of the water. So we've definitely seen one heavily pregnant female there. She came waddling down last. And it looks like the baby belongs to that one just in front. He's been following her all over the place. So we are here at Chitwa Dam. And there's lots happening. Other than the zebras, there's quite a number of different bird species that we've got here. We've got a hippo that's just decided to give us a massive yawn. So he's in the front of the picture. And then those birds just behind him are African spoonbill. And you can see the spoon shape, or almost looks like a wooden spoon shape of their beak. They basically passing that through the water and the mud and hoping to catch very, very sensitive beak, hoping to catch any critters that happen to go between the beak. So little insects, frogs, tiny little fish, and that'll be how they feed. Sometimes they also stir the mud up a little bit with their feet. There we go. And then we move across this quite a few more hippo in the background there. So a nice group, a much bigger group. Possibly find that there's two separate groups here. They're far enough apart that you might have two dominant bulls, each with their group of females. So also another two birds there, some water thickney. And if we continue to move to the left, there's actually about, I didn't count them all, but probably the most thickney I've ever seen in one place on the edge of a dam. These are called water thickney. The easiest way to tell them apart from the spotted thickney is that dark black bar that goes straight across the wing, almost like a water level. Not seeing it too close, but they are typically nocturnal birds with a very large eye, so running around and moving around looking for insects at night time. And if you see nice big knobbly knees, that's why they've got their name, a thick knee. The baby zebra is actually suckling milk, so we're just going to zoom out and we'll head across to see if we can get a little bit of some footage there. So the baby zebra didn't drink water at all. It'll still get quite a lot of milk from the mother for at least the first year of its life. And then she starts to try and wean it while she's pregnant with the next foal. Oh, very uncooperative mother. She's probably already trying to wean it. That's why she didn't allow it to suckle for too long. There's also in the very far background on the edge some waterbuck. They didn't look like they were coming down to the water, but definitely a happening place this afternoon. They like spending some time on the edges of the water. It's nice and open. So speaking of open areas, we're going to send you across to Lauren in the Mara, who is still on a search.
So indeed, I do believe my accent might be causing a little bit of a confusion as usual. That's what happens when you are Scottish, I'm afraid. So just to clarify, for those who might have been a little bit confused, it's the Chelly Boys. So that is C-H-E-L-I, the Chelly Boys, and they've been sighted quite often by us. They're not new to us. They seem to be very nomadic in their sort of spatial tactic, if you like. And obviously one of them is very easy to identify from that extremely short tail. Now, a lot of people get confused with the Quechua boys because one of them does have a tip missing from the tail, but it's not as anywhere near as short as that. That is a very, very short tail. And of course, I have absolutely no idea what actually happened to it. So I hope that clarifies it. Chelly, as in C-H-E-L-I. Now I'm just arriving at the North Clan Den and I'm just trying to see if there is any activity because the sun is starting to give us a little bit of a breather from this intense heat. Now I am not one to complain about heat, as many of you know, but whew, it's been extremely hot today. Is the den empty? Is nobody here? I don't believe anybody is here. Wow, I think this is the emptiest I have ever seen the den. Indeed, so of course that means we do not hang around. Bungay is just going to get a little bit closer with the camera to double check because, you know, well, my eyesight. Yeah, there you go, empty den. So we do not hang around here when that is the case, which is a shame. I did actually want to say hi to my hyena family. However, never mind, we shall be on our way. And I would like to check in with those, actually I'll go forward. I would like to check in with those male lions a little bit later, because I am intrigued to see where they're going to do, what they're going to do and where they're going to go once that sun goes down. So, the emptiest I have ever seen the den. So the cubs, of course, will be inside, and the adults will either be snoozing, having a wonderful nap somewhere nearby, or they will be on the move investigating whatever is going on around. Hyenas actually do walk incredible distances, especially at night time, but when it is hot, they do tend to seek refuge from the heat, as most animals do. So they do tend to become much more active and awake at night time. So I truly hope they've not moved dens. I am actually meeting the hyena research team again tonight, and I decided I would bring them a bar of chocolate. So I brought the chocolate in the car, completely forgetting that it's one of the hottest days I have ever experienced in Kenya. And we had a little bit of an accident with the chocolate because it melted and exploded and pretty much went all over the car. So they will not be getting any chocolate tonight, unfortunately. But yes, we're going to meet up again and do all the fantastic talking about hyenas that we do love to do. So wow, that is the emptiest I've ever seen a den. Of course, maybe it's too early, it is still too hot, but since the Chelly boys are right ahead, I thought it was worth just popping in and seeing exactly what was going on. But unfortunately, nothing was going on, so there you go. So while we're going to bumble around for a bit and see what we can see before returning back, I just wanted to get a little bit cooler. But for now, we're going to send you back down to Sydney, who's looking for cat tracks.
Sydney is still busy trying to see if we can find something interesting for you. At the moment, I will be heading much more towards the western side of the game reserve. Maybe that is where our luck is for this afternoon. Let's just cross fingers and hope for the best. So somewhere here is where we saw the tracks this morning, and we saw the fresh scat, which was a dropping for one of the cats. Paula, my most memorable drive, it was my first drive here in Juma, where I was lucky with the avokas chasing the three leopards, all happening at the same sighting. So we found Tandy, and Tandy was looking at the avokas. We were not aware of the presence of the avokas at that time. And then Tandy led us to the avokas, and suddenly the other leopards came and they were challenging each other, and the avokas were stalking the leopards. It was an interesting sighting. I was with Sebastian as my camera op. He's the one who first spotted Tandy before we saw the avokas. That was my best game drive ever. So this is the area where I saw the scat this morning. Kristen, my scariest encounter in the bush is the day I was doing a guided walk. I used to be a lead guide. Early in the morning I left, and then we were following the black rhinos. And these black rhinos, before I found them, I found these very fresh tracks, and I found droppings. When I was trying to touch the droppings just to feel the heat, these black rhinos were watching me. I wasn't aware that they were such very close, but I touched the droppings and I was so excited. While I was still excited, I could hear the noise not very far of the rhinos making noises such as and those rhinos came and circled us twice and then decided to run away. So they didn't do anything. They just come and circled us and just ran around us and then suddenly left. So I was having some tourists with me, but it was not a most difficult situation. So here I could see that there is some old tracks of the leopards heading towards where we are going now. Yeah, these tracks are going up and down in this area. Maybe this leopard went down that way and come back this way again. Make use of the very same road. I'm just gonna show you these tracks here. The interesting thing about trekking is that you can be able to see how long the animal was there. So these tracks help us a lot. You can see right there, apologies for the part of the vehicle which is showing up there. You can see those tracks. They don't look very fresh because it has been drizzling for a while this morning, so that is why maybe the tracks are covered. But these tracks this morning, they were not looking that very old. So now I'm just going to carry on and see. So the trekking is more interesting when it comes to the determination of the age of an animal. So if you check, sometimes you can see the track is very fresh and find an animal just there. So it means when looking for these animals, you have to use all the different skills. We have to use sense of smell. We have to track the animals and look for the animals at the same time. So the only problem which affects trekking is too much wind because it blows the tracks. Oh, there is a dead tortoise here. I will show you just now. Accidentally, I just saw this dead tortoise here. I don't know what exactly happened here. So you can see that there is some of the ants as well. They are starting to get something to eat there. So there is a big crack on it. So it's difficult to tell what exactly happened here. So this is not nice because this kind of animals such as the tortoise, they are very beautiful animals and we have to take care of them because they don't have that speed to escape danger. So this shell is more like a keratin. You know, this shell for the tortoise, for it to get very hard, the tortoise do what is called a coprophagic behavior. Coprophagic behavior, it means the tortoise, they go and eat droppings of the other animals, normally animals who are chewing the bones so that they can have calcium remaining. Then they will use that calcium in order to harden the shell. So this shell needs quite a lot of calcium maintenance and it gets very hard. So they are too clever. When wanting to get calcium, they eat droppings of those who eat calcium, who eat bones so that they can have calcium. Unfortunately, they don't have tooth to crush bones. So the cats are not interested to come here as we saw. Yeah, maybe, but it's difficult to tell at the moment here as I didn't see much evidence on that. So I have seen also Talamba feeding on a very small tortoise. That was about a few weeks ago. It was something unusual. And we also saw the honey badger the other day as well, feeding on a tortoise. It's difficult now at the moment here where I am in order to reallocate those tracks, but I'm just gonna keep following. But now, let's see what is happening with my other friends.
So, before we run him over, we've got a red-billed hornbill that just left. Oh, he's landed on the branch just to the right-hand side. So, easy distinguishing feature is the red bill. If we listen carefully, there's another one to the right-hand side that's calling a little bit. No, it doesn't help when he flies off. So, is generally sort of a hornbill call. I didn't do a very good job. He's even looking at me funny. There's a few of them here, so probably a little family group. And then you can see the nice sun shining through the red beak. Also, a relatively big eye with also just one little stick in the way, but sometimes very nice eyelashes as well. Grooming yourself with a big beak like that is not easy, but often the hornbills, their beaks are large to allow the resonation of the sound so that they can send it long distances. But having a beak like that is also a challenge for eating. It means you have to toss something and actually catch it, which I think yesterday or this morning Tristan had one of those red-billed hornbills scratching around in some elephant droppings looking for some insects. So we're still on the hunt. We're going to head across towards Twin Dam and see what we can find there. The temperature's definitely dropping. There's a slight breeze in the air, so it is getting cooler. We're hoping to see if there are any cats on the move. But you can see we're probably in for a beautiful sunset. I can just see a silhouette of an eagle on the edge of a tree there, but it's directly into the sun, so for the camera that'll be very, very hard. I'm not even going to guess. All I'm getting is sunshine. So nice, nice beak, long tail, but I'm not going to stick my neck out and call it without being able to see it properly. It's always dangerous with the amount of viewers that we have that know their birds so well. I'd rather be 100% sure. So I heard Sydney chatting about his most amazing tracking experience. For years I spent some time tracking and used to go out with the trackers, and I had one day we were tracking a male leopard and it was on a riverbank, and we could hear the squirrels were alarming. They were shouting, they were telling us he's here, he's here, he's here. And we walked, we could see the squirrel looking directly below into a bush, and we thought, well, he must be here somewhere. And we were on the one side of the bush, and in a depression the male leopard was on the other side of the bush, and all I heard was this low growl. Tell me you will stop dead in your tracks when you hear this growl. I thought, well, he's a lot closer than I wanted him to be, so I took a step back and I bumped into the tracker, and all he said in my ear was, "Do not run." And I thought, no, my legs are not going to let me run. But fortunately the leopard was a very relaxed leopard, and he thought, which way are we going, Seb? Seb's my direction today. I haven't learnt all the roads on the property yet, so he's my GPS. So if we get lost, it's definitely not my fault today. Okay, I'm going to send you across to Lauren, who's just left the North Clan Dam. She's in search of a few other things.
We have just arrived at the river, because you literally never know what is going to happen at the river. You never know what will be here, so it's not too far away from the Chilli Boys, so we thought we would just come and have a look and see if anything is going on. Now, of course, the residents are here in the Ooh, look at that big yawn. Yes, we saw that. We did see that. Big hippo yawn. Now, we... Okay, excuse you. I can't even remember what I was going to say now because that hippo noise put me off. Of course, the hippos are indeed always here, and the river was flowing the other day and it was starting to look a little bit full, but indeed with these past few hot days, unfortunately, it's starting to look not as full. So we thought we would just pass on by, but there is something I would like to show you. If Bungay can get this on camera, look at the moon. We have a fabulous view of the moon, and I'm just checking the time. It is only 6:10 Kenya time. Now, I hope you're all able to see that, and it looks like it's almost pushing full moon, which is one of my favorite times of the month. I absolutely love the moon, and it is said to affect a lot of the animal behavior as well. So animals can change their behaviors and the things that they do due to the moon as well, especially your predators, which will actually tend to hunt a lot more at full moon, of course, because there is a lot more light, I guess. And it's actually even said to affect humans because our body is mostly made up of water. The moon, the gravitational pull of the moon is actually said to really affect the human body. Now, I don't know if you will all agree with me, maybe not, maybe so, but when it does come to full moon, that night of when the moon is at its fullest, I am completely unable to sleep. It's just not possible for me to sleep. There's a lot of research that actually goes into this, but some people agree with it and some people don't. And it's not to do with the light because I have blackout curtains, but indeed once that moon gets full, I am not able to sleep. So do share your thoughts with me on that. Some people I'm sure will agree and some people of course won't. But yeah, the moon really, really affects me, and of course it affects the animals too, and not just on land with it providing more light for the predators. It can also affect the animals in the ocean. So for example, your manta rays, particularly in Maldives, are completely dependent on the moon cycles. So whether you will see a large group of manta rays or not will depend on the moon. So I'm not sure it has any effect on these hippopotamus who are just going about their daily lives as they do in the Mara River here, clashing with one another, defecating a lot, and just being a hippo. So I'm not sure it will indeed affect them very much at all, but with other animals it definitely affects them a lot. Now, there's a whole range of ages with these hippos. I've just been having a look and there's actually some juveniles here as well. So normally the male likes to stay next to his big group of hippos, including his females, and keep guard over them. And if a young male or another male gets too close, he does get rather annoyed. Like this one is getting slightly annoyed right now. Thought we were going to see a yawn there. I just turned around. Anthony agrees with me about the moon. That's great, Anthony. I'm not sure if you have trouble sleeping, but I just cannot sleep at all when it's full moon. Just cannot sleep at all. It takes me a long time to drift off, and it's really, really not a good sleep. You know, when you just have these sleeps where you just, you feel fantastic when you wake up. Well, I definitely don't have one of those sleeps when it is full moon. So I am glad to hear that someone does agree with me. Now, the one thing I love about here is you do see hippos very regularly out of the water. Now, that's something you don't see so commonly in Juma. So here you really, really do see them wandering about a lot. But of course, on a hot day like this, it's inevitable that they will be submerged in the water. And apparently quite a lot of viewers are agreeing with me, so that's fantastic. I'm not the only one who feels the effects of the full moon. I am very, very glad to hear that. Now, we do have some beautiful, I've just got my binos out because you never know what is happening further down the river. Oh, listen to all that. Aiden, who's 7 years old, is asking a fantastic question, a really interesting one actually, and it is, do hippos eat fish? And you would think that, Aidan, wouldn't you? But actually they do not. So there will be fish inside this river, believe it or not. There will be a lot of catfish and a lot of other species as well. However, hippos feed at night time. So when you see them like this during the day, all bobbing their heads up, they're actually not feeding. So what they do is when the sun starts to go down at sunset time, when it gets a lot cooler and a lot darker, they actually leave the river and they go on a little journey to forage for vegetation. So that means, Aidan, that they will eat grass and plants. They're actually herbivores. So for being such big animals with huge teeth, they actually only eat plants and not fish. However, that was an excellent question. And when they do get out the water at night time and they wander around looking for food, they won't go too far away. They do tend to stay in quite close proximity to the river, so that once that sun starts to come back up again in the morning, they will indeed head back towards the river. So hippos are deeply affected by the sun. They have very fine skin that can be really badly affected by sunburn. So this is why they do tend to keep themselves submerged in the... Oh, was that one biting that other one's bottom? Yes, I think you were. Not sure why you were doing that. Probably trying to get a little bit of a bite of the tail. But indeed, they are herbivores. And humongous ones at that. Hippos are such large animals, and it is quite baffling to think that they do indeed just eat vegetation. It baffles me every single time. And they don't even eat that much, hippos. So for being the sheer size that they are, and the weight that they are, and the sort of body that they're actually able to carry, they really do not eat that much. So they actually save a great deal of energy by being in the water. So although it keeps them cool, it keeps them very relaxed, it's good for their skin, there's lots of reasons that they are in the water. It does actually help them save energy because their bodies are sort of buoyed up. You know, when you're in water, you really don't have to move too much. So they actually don't eat as much as you think they would. So it is said that depending on the sort of size of the hippo, they do eat anywhere between 15 to 40 kilograms. Now let me try and convert that for you on the spot. So it would be just a little bit over 30 pounds to just over 80 pounds, I think. I hope that conversion was right, which is actually only 1.5% of its body weight. So that's very low for an animal, because normally an animal has to eat about 5% of their body weight to sustain their nutritional requirements. So hippos really don't eat as much as you think they would. And of course, by wandering around in the night time and walking on land, they are actually expending a lot of energy. So I just find it really fascinating that they only eat 1.5% of their body weight. So depending on the size, of course, they'll either eat between... Oh, we've got two having a little standoff here. Oh, I think I just missed that. So when hippos do this thing that we do... Sorry, I just had to let you hear that. It's fantastic. Aren't they just the noisiest things? When hippos do open their mouth like that, it's normally quite a territorial display. It's quite threatening. It's not actually yawning, even though we call it yawning. It is a display of sort of dominance and a threatening display to others. However, if it is young males doing it, it's just very typical behaviour of I am better than you, I am bigger than you. But when it is a territorial male doing it, then it has a lot more substance when it sort of opens its mouth like that and shows its very horrendous and ugly teeth. I think in the animal kingdom, hippos possibly have the worst teeth. I'm just trying to think if I can think of an animal that has worse teeth than a hippo. There probably are some, but anyway, hippos are definitely not pleasant to look at all. Now there's lots of birds making noises around us as well. Let's have a look at what we do have around us. I think we have some yellow-billed storks up there. I'm just going to see if I can maybe reverse and we can get a better view of them. Okay, so just let me see if we can get you the storks before we send you anywhere, because they are beautiful. Are you able to get that, Wonge? They're just off in the distance. over to the left, we'll just give you a beautiful view of them because the sun is beginning to set and we are going to leave the river soon. There we go. I think we're finally getting there. There we go. We have a beautiful yellow-billed. Look at that. Always here, always looking for food in the river with that huge beak over there. So I just wanted to give you a little glimpse before we do leave. And for now, we're going to send you down to Deirdre with some elephants.
Guess what that is? We got to Twin Dam and this herd of elephants has just arrived. So some of them are drinking pretty quickly, greedily in fact, and then there are a couple of the smaller ones. They've been splashed a little bit cooler, that youngster, and they're just literally bypassing right behind the back of the vehicle. So they're kind of like, this is a drive-by drink, what it looks like today. But you can see the little ones almost got his trunk stuck in the hole there. Whoops, don't know what he's doing. Sometimes they like to dig in the sand with their tusks. He doesn't really have very many tusks. Oh, shove. No, that's not nice. You just hurry up, brother, he says. Oopsie, oopsie. Oh, shame. Mum's waiting for him. She says, come, Junior, keep coming, keep coming. Nice and patient, but a nice little shove from older sibling there. You're getting really, really nice audio as they're drinking. As soon as they come to the water, they generally suck up water in their trunk, they blow it clean, and then they start sucking up water and putting it into their mouth. So they don't drink water through their trunk, they basically pick it up in their trunk and then put it in their mouth and then squeeze the muscles to put it into their mouth. I'm really hoping that those two in the water think about swimming. That would be really nice. Cool them down nicely. So it was a nice herd of around about 20. Moving the female, the big matriarch, was up in the front, and then generally what you find is that these are like the little teenager boys that right throughout their life, young male elephants are often further away from their mothers, a little bit more independent than a young female, and that's just to help them, guide them through later in life. There, oh, another one getting a little bit of a shove. Oh, no, that's not nice. So generally, the one gave us a good trumpet just behind us. Generally they'll try and drink anywhere 100, 160 litres of water a day. Obviously that's a large elephant, not one of these smaller ones. And very often in the heat like today, they'll actually drink twice a day. But they're crossing slowly behind us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn the camera, turn the vehicle so that Seb's got a camera angle for those that are crossing the road behind us. I love it when a plan comes together. You say you're going to the dam to look for elephants coming to drink, and there they arrive. So you can see the same like we saw in the elephant bull earlier. Oh, you're going to be cheeky, I can just see. Young elephant bull, he thinks, let me give it a try. Then he realizes, hang on, Mom's not so close. I'm not so sure. And you see the behavior change, lift his head, I am big, I really am. And then the tail will tell you exactly, no way, he says, I'm out of here. Oh, there's more coming down, there's more just in front. I'm just going to stay where I am. Because there's another herd, and these ones are excited to come to the water. You can see there's a swagger in their step. There's also a little one in that group. The one at the back's running. Hey, don't leave me behind. Oh, that's a really small one. It does look like there might be, the elephant on the far right might actually be a bull. that's following them, and he might be bothering them a little bit. So there's a bit of a rumbling going on between them. And you can see what will happen there. So generally, really small elephants under the age of 2 would still be drinking mother's milk. You can still see that the trunk is very, very floppy, so not actually able to suck up too much water in the trunk. They basically, if they want to drink water, they often go into the water a little bit and actually drink with their mouths. Oh no, they're just doing a total bypass. They're obviously not going to be doing a drive-by drink or a walk-by. She's actually got quite unique tusks, one facing upwards and one facing down. Normally elephant tusks are asymmetrical. You can hear that. There's a little bit of a rumble, and generally when you get a bit of a rumble, that's just reassurance amongst the herd. So the matriarch's made a decision. She's telling them, yes, they're there, but we don't really feel threatened by them, so it's okay, we can carry on moving, and that's pretty much what the whole herd is doing. They also could be communicating with some of the other ones that were a lot further ahead, just to say, yes, we're coming. She might also give us the hairy eyeball, and that's just because she's got that really, really small little calf behind her there. Just too cute. So a calf of about that size, probably about a year old. So a question there was, how often can elephants give birth? So a female elephant, probably about the one that's just going past now, around about that size, about 15 years old is the first time that they sexually mature. And then about 22 months is the gestation period. And then after 22 months, she'll have the one calf, and she'll suckle that calf for 2 years, look after it for another 2 years while she's pregnant with another one for 22 months. So on average, every 4 to 5 years, she'll have another calf, and generally after she's about 15 years old. This is the bull that was disturbing them. He's following them, which quite likely means that there's potentially a female in estrus that he's interested in. So he will keep his distance, and then when they do decide to stay in one place, he'll go and he'll actually check each one of the females in order to see if anyone is interested. Wow, how amazing was that? And there's one just in front of us. He's decided he wanted to go all the way around the other side of the dam. Also, more than likely, oh, that's also a female. You can see by the angular shape of the head, the sort of 90 degrees on the top of the head, shows you that it's a female. So this is the last one to leave. So we're also going to start moving on. We're going to head towards the hyena den. But I'm going to send you across to Sydney, who's still on his search for some cats.
I am moving now much more towards that area of the Triple M, just before Arathusa area, to see if maybe we cannot find the beautiful tracks of other cats in that area, as those are the areas where the Unkuhumas, they were last spotted crossing over. So my alternative plan is the Unkuhumas. So the tracks here for the leopard goat disappeared in this block here. So the grass is very tall, and when it's hot like this, the cats can sleep long hours. Maybe that is why it's difficult to spot. So when the grass is like this and the trees are so thick like this, it's easy. You can even pass a big animal. They The dry grass is still nutritious, although yes, there is quite of a reduction when it comes to the amount of nutrients by the grass, because when these are annual species, I'm talking about the species which can grow just for 1 year and they spread the seeds and they grow again the next growing season. And now at the final stage of the development, the climax stage, they start to depreciate the amount of nutrients, but still it's nutritious because check, the very same grasses we are seeing now, when it's dry during the dry season, animals still feed on them and maintain the body condition. So it's not that bad. It's just that when the grass is like this, it is palatable and there is nutrient vigor on it and there's quite a lot of moisture on it and it's easily digestible. So the digestibility works very nicely. But when it's dry, there is problems now because of feeding on the dry grass, animals must then travel long distances so that they can drink water in order to assist the digestive system. But now, here when the grass is nice and soft, then everything in the stomach works very nicely. So some of these animals, before they decide on grasses, they check the perenniality of the grass. And they also check the leaf production of the species. Is the grass producing quite a lot of leaves or less leaves after they have eaten? And they will check all these things so that they can choose the right types of grass in order to survive. Also, the amount of seeds production helps them because some of the grass has got low seeds production, whereas some of these grasses has got high seeds production. So the high seeds production helps in order to grow back again very quickly and cover the area. So imagine animals who are choosing the grass with the low seeds production. It means that type of a grass will be too little. So the clever ones are those who are deciding on the grasses with the high seeds production. So now you can see it's the best time for the animals to go and have a drink. That is why we're not seeing the impalas around here at the moment. They must be going to the nearest water holes now. Sometimes it can also be determined by the presence of the predator in the area. At the moment, this area here where we are is the area where I have seen a very nice track of a python, much more going that side last week. So there is a python staying somewhere in this area and I am hoping to see that python one of the good days. So that is something I cannot wait to see here. I haven't seen the python yet, not even a small one. So now we are entering the side of Hukumuri. So this is the area where Hukumuri is patrolling all the time and maybe accidentally we might see him. The use of wild animals dung, the very popular animal dung which is used by various tribes here in southern Africa is the elephant dung, because elephant dung has got quite a lot of medicinal uses. I think I can promise you elephant dung is the mother of all medicines, because the elephants eat quite a lot of different medicinal trees, and it's a combination of all these different medicinal trees, and that is why the elephant dung is so preferable. So that one, it can cure quite a lot of things, and it works nicely. Quite a lot of small kids from different areas has been assisted by the elephant dungs when it comes to the nose bleeding. So it helps even the newborns. So the elephants, they manufacture quite a lot of medicines for, for a lot of people. So the interesting part is that not only when the elephant droppings are dry is when they work. There are some of the diseases which requires the elephant dung when it's still fresh. And there are some of the diseases which requires the dry elephant dungs. So now let's cross over to Lauren with a very beautiful sunset. I can't wait one of the good days and enjoy the beautiful sunset with the elephant dung gin. There is a drink, alcohol, which is also done from the elephant dungs.
Wonderful sunset ahead of us. Take a look at that. There is no sunset like a Mara sunset, let me tell you. And it has brought with it some lovely cool air and just a few more breaths to breathe. It's been a very, very hot day for all of us. And this sunset is very, very much appreciated. So we thought we would share that with all of you before driving on. Now, we of course left the river. We just wanted to check it out. There has been lots of exciting things going on near the river these days. So for me, it's always worth just checking out. It's not too far and making sure we're not missing anything exciting. So there is some buffalo around us and we're really not far away from those Chelly boys. So what we're going to do is go back and just take a little sneak peek at what they're up to, because really this timing with the sort of cooler breeze and the sun beginning to set really is the perfect time for a lion to get up and start to wander around a little bit. And I really want to see these boys up and moving. I've seen them twice now and they've been flat. So as wonderful as it is to see flat lions, it is also glorious to see them up and moving and actually doing something. So the Chelly boys are not to be mistaken as the Chelly Pride. They are breakaway boys. So sometimes they're the Chelly boys for short, shall we say. And they're sometimes called the Chelly breakaway boys. So that's just a little bit of a longer name for you all. But in general, they get called the Chelly boys for short. So we're just going to say hi again. And if they haven't moved, then, well, we may have to say goodnight to them once and for all. There is only so much waiting you can do on some lions, isn't there? But we saw 2 lioness and 2 lions today, so it has been a successful day in the Panthera Leo department. Now, just an update on Busara. She is actually still around the area that we saw her last, believe it or not, and we did go for a little look to see if we could find her, but indeed we didn't manage to find her earlier. So this is one of our plans, to have a look around Kichwa airstrip and see if we can find her again. Apparently she made a kill this morning and it was indeed another Thompson's gazelle. She did it on her own. However, it was said to be stolen by the usual klepto-parasite suspects, such as your hyenas, and I believe vultures were involved as well. So it's a bit unsure exactly how much of that meal she got. So I think we're going to say hi to the lions and then divert to go and see if we can see Busara, because I miss her. And there was a question from Romit, but I was too deep in my story there, so I will get Nina to repeat it once more, and I promise Romit I will of course answer it. So that is my plan for the little short while that we have left as this beautiful sunset is setting behind the mountains behind us. I got your question now, Romit. Took a while. But just on that, everybody will be really proud of me, especially Edwin and even Conrad, if he is listening. I hope he's listening. I hope he's proud. But I fixed my comms problem, and of course, it's just gaffer tape. That's the answer to all technological problems, gaffer tape. So I fixed it. Anyway, I think you'll all be proud of me for doing that. Now back to Romit's question, how interesting are the lion dynamics here in the Mara compared to down in the Sabi Sands? Well, it's a completely different environment, to be honest. I don't feel it is really comparable. Obviously in the sort of area that we are in Juma, the main lions that we do come across now, there obviously has been many other ones in the past, are of course the Stinky, Ponky and Kapumas and the avocados. So they're the ones that we see mostly at the minute. So since it's such a smaller area with sort of completely different landscape, I don't really feel it is comparable to the Mara. The Mara is so vast, as you can see in front of me right now. I'm literally driving off into the sunset. And there's many, many different prides with different territories as well, and different coalitions that we have here. So I would say, in answer to that question, the lion dynamics are probably a lot more complicated up here in the Mara because there's more of them, there's a lot more space, and there's a lot more happening. So it takes a little bit to sort of really dive into the lion dynamics here. But in terms of interactions and differences, I'm not sure I'm able to answer that, Romit. I see where you're going with that. The lions in the Mara definitely seem to be a lot more active during the day from what I've personally observed. And there seems to be a lot, oh wow, look at that. Shall we just take another look at that because it's taken my breath away. Oh my goodness. Now we had the almost full moon and now we've got a full sun in front of us. It's just about to set. Sorry, I just turned the corner on that bend and it just absolutely took my breath away while I was yabbing on about lions. So yes, I feel that because it's just two different areas, they aren't entirely comparable. But in the Mara, it's definitely a lot more complex. Now we do have a wonderful map in our studio that does sort of map out the different territories that the lions do have. And they sort of navigate their own spatial tactics out here in order to avoid conflict. And of course, there is the border with the Serengeti, which is where we do tend to see lots of cheetahs. So I guess lions can move in and out at their own free will. So it's just a little bit more complicated up here. So I hope that does answer your question as we stare at this glorious sky in front of us. Wow. A moment's silence with the sunset. I can see Bungay behind me taking lots of photos, so he's also blown away by the sunset that we have in front of us. And it's going down incredibly fast, and I do not want to miss my lions. So I hope you've all soaked up that gorgeous sun and those gorgeous colours. But unfortunately for us, it's going to get dark very, very soon. So I do think we should be on our way. What do you think, Bungay? Yes. He's finished taking all the photos with his phone, so it's all good. I hope they're good ones. So our lions are really not that far away. They are just up the road. Everything today has been in such close proximity to one another. So we're just going to check on them once again. So I cannot take my eyes off this sun. So I'm probably going to end up crashing into something. But for now, we are going to send you all down to Deirdre, who has my favourite animal.
So we're here at the Juma hyena den. And we only have one of the ladies here, and she also is still snoozing in the heat. She's actually dug herself into a hollow that they seem to use quite regularly. And look how dirty she is. She's actually a very dirty hyena. We were talking earlier about animals that go and wallow in the mud and just to get cool and be in the water. And I think that's exactly what she's gone and done there. That's why she's so dirty. So Seb is zooming in nice and close. You can actually see how coarse their hair is and how long it is, plus also all the nice spots. She'll have... oh, now she's got an itch. the viewers can help me here. I've only been at the Djuma clan once or twice, so I think this is pretty. I'm sticking my neck out. So the regulars can just hashtag SafariLive or tweet one word as to exactly which female this is. You'll help me. So it's still quite warm. We actually noticed that when we arrived there was very fresh elephant droppings at the tree right at the base of the den. So the elephant, at least one, moved straight through the den site. So if it was not so long ago, the cubs might very well be still hidden in the den. So there you can see the fresh elephant droppings through the grass. Well, they're still quite shiny, so maybe the elephants made a bit of a rumble and disturbed the hyenas. There's only one, you can even see she's got a nice mud line. No, that's not the idea. You're not supposed to leave. I'd also be itchy and scratchy if you're just covered in mud. So a little bit early for them to go off on patrol. We don't see any of the other adult females here, so maybe June and Ribbon and Corky are all gone out. I'm going to just drive with her. Obviously we don't like to spend time at the den if there are no adults here. I don't see any other adults, so we'll see, follow her. So I didn't copy, there was a question, I didn't copy that question. Oh, yes. Oh, maybe this is where she was wallowing in this nice slimy green pan right next to us. It looks like it could be quite stinky. Hyenas will drink that water, it doesn't bother them too much. They've got really strong digestive systems, so drinking yucky water like that, not too bad. It's quite nice that they've got their own swimming pool within meters from their den sites. We're just going to go further up the road and see if we can catch up with, I think it's pretty. I saw some notches or chunks missing out of her left ear. We'll see if we can catch up to her. Maybe she even bumps into some of the others. We'll have to quickly check for tracks. Oh, lots of them coming up and down here. It's always difficult right at the den because that's the entry and the exit for all the hyenas, so they just keep coming on all the different areas. Oh, there she goes. Okay, I'm just going to turn onto the road and then we'll follow her a bit. Maybe, oh, okay, we'll just follow her with the camera from a distance, is how I understand Seb. So, off on patrol. So you actually watch how they walk. It's quite a funny thing. It's like a cross opposite walk. Wherever they put their front right foot, their back left foot comes in quite close, and then the same for wherever they put their front left foot, then their back right foot comes in. So it almost looks like they're walking in a bit of a straight line with a bit of a wiggle. So a very strange body shape, tall shoulders, low rear, and that's strong shoulders and front in order to pick up prey and bring it back to the den. So she's got to go and try and find some food or steal some food or scavenge some food or even kill something for herself, and then she'll carry it all the way back up to the den and feed the cubs that are here. And there she goes. So we're going to just do another loop around and maybe we'll pop back to the den a little bit later. Oh, Oh, shame. Sydney, I believe he's lost his hat and he's still on the search. Maybe he has more luck than the tracking of the lions and finding his hat.
Today I am having a non-stop search. I am now heading towards the gate, main gate, where the Unkuhumas crossed yesterday, and hopefully they will come out there. I'm glad now that the sun is gone. We don't have the warm temperatures anymore. It's best time for the animals such as the predators to start moving around. We might be lucky in these areas. So I'm not very far from where the lions, the Unkuhumas, were last seen yesterday. So normally the Unkuhumas, they go in there and they come back, make use of the very same link road. So these lions, I haven't heard them for a while now, as normally you hear them roaring. So they are very much far down the side. So it's going to be interesting very soon when it comes to the Unkuhumas, as a lot of females are expecting at the moment. So there will be cubs everywhere. Now, so far, there is no sign of the Unkuhumas coming back this side. So it means they are still on the left-hand side by this thick bush here. Maybe they will be too excited with this kind of weather and start coming back towards our side. Or maybe they don't want to come there because the buffaloes are not there at the moment. So the Unkuhumas and the buffaloes, they get along. Every time when the buffaloes are here, the Unkuhumas will come. Somewhere here is where the Unkuhumas came down to join this part. I am just checking thoroughly here on the ground. I don't want to miss anything. Lauren is driving by the Masai Mara at the moment, and let's see what she's having.
I am not driving, I am absolutely racing. I have a surprise, a very unexpected one. So I am absolutely Ferrari Safari in it right now. My hat has already blown off and I've already had some traffic on the road. Hello! But I'm putting the foot down. Bungay looks terrified. So, I don't know if I want to tell you all what it is. You know how much I love my surprises. But according to Google Maps, I have 7 minutes before I get there. 7 minutes of seriously concentrating on not killing anybody. And the reason I'm racing is, one, I don't want to lose the animal, and two, I don't really want to lose light. And I can't turn right, because I'm too scared. If I turn right, I'll crash. So it's a bit of a dilemma here. But you cannot laugh at me trying to go at full speed one-handedly while I hold on to my hat and actually navigate to where I'm going. So 6 minutes now, guys, and I should be at the location where I'm going to deliver you a fantastic surprise. Something that I've actually been... Shall I take a quick look? Yeah, there we go. Something I've actually been wanting to show you for some time. So maybe some of you can guess what it is. And my eyes are watering. Okay, maybe I should slow down. My eyes are actually streaming. It's getting a little bit colder. I just don't want to lose the lights. So, Google Maps, let me take a sneak peek. Whoa, 5 minutes. So while I race and try my hardest to get there, of course Google Maps says 5 minutes, so I'm going to trust it. We are going to send you back down to Deirdre, so I better hold on to my hat.
So I believe everyone's having a laugh at my expense because Sydney's looking for cats and Lauren's about to lose her hat and I got cat and hat completely confused. So obviously I didn't learn the right words when I was at school, but the cat was wearing a hat or sat on the mat, who knows. But have a look at that. What a beautiful sight. So probably a day or two away from full moon, but you can see beautiful craters in the moon. Funny, they're called mares, M-A-R-E-S, and that's like the old craters from meteorites and rocks and believed to have contained water at one stage. So as that moon gets brighter, obviously a little bit more challenging for some of the predators to successfully hunt at dark, because it does allow the prey animals a little bit more eyesight and visibility than they normally used to. So I'm so glad that the temperature is dropping and it's getting a bit cooler now. It was a very, very hot day today, and I believe we're in for just as hot a day tomorrow. Did anybody see the man on the moon? That's probably been said many, many times, but I don't see anything there. Sometimes you're supposed to see a rabbit or something. So we did come to Treehouse Dam to have a look to see if there was anything here, but we're going to head, you can move across to Sydney that does have his hat with some elephants.
So I have got the elephant again, but this one is a solitary male. It doesn't have the group yet, but I could see here on the road where I am, there is quite a lot of openings by the grasses, showing that he must be following the scent from the other head members who has been here earlier. I can see that he is right on the right track. He is following the others, but he's taking his time. You can see now he is feeding there. So if he's feeding on the grasses, he must have to feed a lot, because the grasses does not really give them quite a lot of energy compared to the energy they're getting from the trees. As the trees gives them, some of these trees gives them more than 8% of protein. Grass is only 4% of protein. So they have to at least balance between grasses and the leaves. If it's just grasses, the energy won't be that much. So you can see that elephant knows very well, because he's mixing both grasses and the trees. Bolaka, the elephants are very much water dependent. And I think it's understandable, because they are feeding on very hard vegetation material. So they can be able to drink 150 to 200 liters of water a day. So that is quite a lot. In other words, in order to have the elephants in the reserve, you need quite a lot of water available. This elephant, when it's eating the grasses, they're enjoying, because I just picked up a grass now as I was driving, and its grass is so very much sweet. This is one of the sweet grass, so I just got it here. So if there is too many, I can have a lot. Adrian, the elephants, those tusks you are seeing there, they serve a very significant role. If you look at them, they are the incisors coming out from the mouth, and this helps the elephants in order to debark the trees. They use that elephant against the trees to take the bark out so that they can be able to feed on the inner bark. Apart from that, when they're digging, sometimes they use them, but also for defense. When the elephants are threatened or when they are fighting against each other, they use the very same tusks. But also when fighting the enemy, they use again the very same tusks. So you can see that the tusks, they do have quite a very important role to play when it comes to the defense, for the safety of these elephants and for a diet. So you can see that big elephant is disappearing at the moment. So I am going to carry on and see if we can find something interesting. So I'm still now eating the grass. There is a question about the elephants here. It's one of the questions I didn't copy nicely about these big animals. Did you get that?
What makes them stampede?
The elephants, the reason why the elephants like to avoid and run away is that elephants sometimes can also feel threatened, and sometimes they just don't want to be close to the vehicles. Elephant males, when they're on mast, this is an unpredictable condition which is caused by the level of testosterone. It's a hormone which is responsible for the sexual desires. Most of them, when they're on that stage, they are easily irritated and they just want to avoid and move away. So the elephants, when their mood is not right, they rather avoid the situation. So too much has been said bad about these animals, but let me tell you something. Elephants are very peaceful animals. It's just that when they've got new babies, newborns, is when they can be protective. Yes, when the bull is on mast, but also when they've got injuries. If you look at these three different things, you will see if they don't have this, they are just peaceful. And keep a long distance. Just give them 50 meters and have a sighting. They won't give you a problem. But if you then go much closer to them is when they won't like it. So this side here where I am now expecting the unexpected. I have not yet picked up anything to show that there is dangerous animals here, but that does not mean we cannot find dangerous animals here around here. So you can see that there is quite a lot of big, nice and open grassland here, which is suitable for the buffaloes to come and feed. But these buffaloes, they are not here. At the moment, the grass is just everywhere. So now let's go back again to one of my friends.
So, as the sun goes down and the moon comes up, we start looking for nocturnal animals. We'll start looking for some of the owls, some of the nightjars. Unfortunately, the update on the den after we left, we drove around for another couple of minutes and then we popped back to the den, but still no activity. My fear is that there's very likelihood that those elephants frighten them away for a little bit. Maybe they're hunkering down somewhere else. And when they feel a bit more confident, they'll come back. We saw no other adult activity, so we can't stay at the den for that. So we're on quite a bumpy road, so I see the camera's shaking quite a bit. But yeah, as we go into the night, we're still, all of us, in the search for some spotted cats, hoping that they decide to call, or we're going to swing past one or two more dams to see if any one of them decide that they're thirsty enough to come out drinking. But at this stage, nothing much out. So you do have to wonder where that hyena went. She was on a mission. Unfortunately, she left Djuma, so we couldn't follow her. But she certainly knew where she wanted to go. And that's what you'll find first thing in the morning on all of these roads is hyena tracks that have literally just been everywhere. They've been up, they've been down, they've been following lion tracks, following leopard tracks. So hyenas, I wouldn't even want to guess how many kilometers they walk in a night. If only I could attach my Fitbit to one of the hyenas, I'd definitely clock some serious footsteps. CMAC is asking if I've heard of, I didn't hear what the full question was there. Let me just stop. The road is quite rattly, so FC, if you can send the question. Oh, serval. Okay, yes. Yes, serval. There's always a chance for serval being a nocturnal cat. I've always found them to actually be very, very hard to find because they're very secretive. And they're basically like a mini leopard, if you can imagine their spots. They've got a small little cat-like head, very long legs, and a relatively short tail. And they'll be moving around in the grass at night using relatively large ears, listening for rodents. And as soon as they hear something, then from that position they'll actually pounce. So they use their long legs and they jump and then land on their prey. Mostly rodents. So I haven't seen a serval here, but others have. So there's always a possibility. Other nocturnal creatures that we could be looking for, I've seen the tracks of them, so I know they are here, would be an African civet, which probably, for those that don't know it off by heart, I'd have to compare it to having a face looking like a raccoon with a Zorro mask, and then probably about the size of a beagle, maybe with a bit shorter legs. And lots of spots. We're going to see you to Sydney, who's also looking for some nocturnal animals.
I am going back now to this block where the tracks of one of the spotted cats got disappeared, just to try my luck again. Maybe because of the temperatures going down, we might be lucky when going there for the second time. So when looking for these cats, we don't have to give up, because these cats, we know they sleep long hours, and now is when they're becoming active. I would be very happy to see a spotted cat here. So if we see this leopard, there will be a big celebration at this afternoon here. Oh, the buffaloes were here, but it's not a fresh dropping. It's an old dropping showing that they have been here not a long time ago. Rahul, the nocturnal animals. We are talking about the animals which are active at night. And the diurnal animals is the animals who are active during the day. And the crepusculous animals is the animals who are active during the night and early mornings. So it means now when the sun is going down is the beginning of the nocturnal life. So here in this area where I am now is where I am trying my last luck. Maybe we'll be lucky with a last-minute leopard around here. The nocturnal animals I would like to see here this evening, it will be the owls. I will be very happy if I see the spotted eagle owl. It's something I'm missing, and I do have these owls at home. They are nesting by one of my biggest mango trees. I was home a few days ago. I could hear them making noise, but I didn't see them this time. Any station in charge of a spotted cat coming? I just want to try and get the updates. I hear they're talking about something. Now let's cross over to Lauren and see what she's having at the moment.
And find that I'm afraid that it's not going to be possible. Darkness just hit in too soon, and this is the problem with the Mara, unfortunately. It's so vast and so big. We got here and then darkness took over, so our mission was a failure, and I really don't think I could have possibly driven any faster if I tried. That was probably the maximum speed limit for the Masai Mara indeed. So I am absolutely heartbroken, not sure whether I should tell you exactly what it was or not. That feeling is a horrible feeling when you try so hard to actually get somewhere. And you're here, you got here, and just not in enough time, I guess. That sun was just setting far too fast. So indeed, it was a female leopard. The thing that I have been really wanting to show you. I can't believe it. I am terribly sorry. I tried my utmost best. It was here. It was sitting on a termite mound. And I raced. And I raced. Luck has not been on my side recently, actually. I think I took all the luck in that first week. So I need to try and regain some of that luck back because, indeed, we're now in pitch blackness. And it may look easy to some, but it's really not easy to find animals in the darkness, I'm afraid. So there we have it. I did try. And of course, I will not give up. I will still continue my mission day after day to see if I can finally locate this very naughty female leopard who manages to escape my clutches every single time. Oh, R Beard. It's actually good to hear your name. I haven't heard your name in a very long time, R Beard. I hope you are well. And yes, you're saying not to worry. Thank you. I do try my utmost best. We've checked a lot of places. I obviously did abandon my Chelly boys, which I feel a little bit guilty about, but I honestly thought we were going to get here right in the correct nick of time. So she must have literally just moved in that 10-minute window, or possibly even under 10 minutes. She literally just must have moved. How frustrating. How frustrating. Anyway, let's stay positive. There is still a little bit of time, and I think what I'm going to do is retrace my steps. My shoulder muscles are starting to hurt a little bit with all this spotlighting, so I'm going to change arms. There we go, that's much better. And I think I'm going to do a bit of a U-turn and go back the way we came, because to see this leopard would absolutely make my week. Now, David actually saw her this morning. So she does tend to hang around the same areas. So do you know what? This might become my mission. I am going to find this female leopard for you all. That is what I'm going to do. You've heard me say it loud and clear. I'm still up in the Mara for quite some time. And I will not leave, actually, until I do this. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to do my wonderful U-turn here and see if we can go back the way we've came and spot any potential glowing eyes in the dark. Oh, dearie me, I knew this was going to be bumpy, so just bear with me. Now, when it gets to this time of night, as much as I do love the darkness, it is just very, very, very difficult to spot things, and all you can really rely on at this stage is the glow of the nocturnal animal's eyes. So it does become a little bit trickier, to be honest. So if we don't catch those eyes, we're probably not going to catch the leopard. I'm exhausted. I don't think I've driven that fast in a very long time. And my mascara's probably run all down my face, which is fabulous. However, it was worth it. And unfortunately, because this grass is getting taller, that's probably another hindrance in our mission. It would be possibly a little bit easier to spot if the grass was shorter, wouldn't it? But never mind. I'm not going to give up. I believe there is still time. Although I am lying when I pretend I know what the time is, because I really don't. Once you're out here, you see the sunrise and the sunset, but you honestly lose complete track of time. It's crazy. So I know it's past sunset time, but other than that, I have no idea. I know it's dinner time approaching because I'm hungry and my stomach is rumbling, so I know that much. That's all the information I have. Oh, come on, leopards. I saw some photos and wow, she is beautiful, and wow, she is big. She is a big girl. Where are you? If I was a leopard, where would I be? Potentially sitting on top of a termite mound right at the side of the road for everyone to look at me. That's what I would do if I was a leopard. Okay, this arm's getting sore again, so I'm going to just switch arms over to this side. Now, Nina, I haven't heard from you in quite some time. And as you know, I do have communication problems. So if you could just say something to me, that would be delightful. Just to make sure I haven't lost you. Oh, she is still there. So I believe someone else in South Africa is also looking for cats, and it's no easy mission. So let's send you down to Sydney himself.
I don't know what's happening there. Zengi didn't call in. So now I am heading much more towards east, where I am on a queue for a sighting. Kalamba has been spotted, and I am going for the sighting now. Yeah, Rexon, come here. I am now at the Weaver's Nest, very close to you. Advice. I copy that. I'm making my way in. So now we might be lucky and find Kalamba still in the area where she has been spotted. This is a shortcut. And now let's go for some updates with my friend.
So we haven't been lucky enough to find anything nocturnal, but quickly before he goes across the road, I'll find you another little critter. He's on a mission. We were talking about civets earlier, and this is actually one of his favorite food sources. This is a millipede. Locally, we would call these shongololos. Some of you might know them as 1,000 legs, and he better keep those legs moving quickly, to avoid being eaten by a civet. And there he goes. I just had to make sure that we didn't drive over him. So, yeah, no other updates on the nocturnal front. We've been stopping, listening for audio, haven't heard any alarm calls. It's just been unlucky so far. So the question is it scary to drive back to the camp in this darkness? No. If you saw the rig behind me with Seb, we've got quite a large LED light that makes me shine. We've got 2 side spotlights, 2 front lights. We've even got reverse lights. And not too scary, provided that you know your way home. So I'm really hoping that Seb knows his way home, because I don't have a clue. So we just keep driving. Luckily nowadays there are things called GPSs and maps, and my GPS on the back has just gone right, so we're going to go, and Seb believes that's the way to camp, so we'll let you know if we get there. Yeah, ready for tomorrow morning. So at this point in time, we're actually basically hoping for something to run across in front of us. We can use the spotlight. Sometimes that's a bit more effective, picking up the eyes of the animals. But as you can see, at this sort of light, at this dusk, the spotlight is relatively ineffective right now. So we're just going with the ambient light that's around us. So we're hoping to see that if there's anything moving in the grass. So also you use your sensors. So as we drive, we're listening to see if there's a rustle in the grass. Maybe we drive past something relatively close. It feels uncomfortable. It gets up and moves. So that's how we find some of the animals. I believe Lauren is still hot on the heels of her cat, so we're going to send you back up to the Mara to get an update from Lauren.
I am still desperately looking. My sort of excitement and anticipation and adrenaline has turned to deep sadness. Oh, I feel really very sad right now. However, we are going to keep going right until the very end. You never know. Last minute lions, last minute leopards. You really never know. You got to keep your hopes up and keep going. Is it bad that I get Bungay to spotlight for me when I'm not live? Just to give the old shoulder muscles a good rest. And he's a lot taller and he's much higher in the vehicle. So I have requested, I'm sitting on a cushion right now because I'm so short, and I have requested that I need to double up. I need 2 cushions because I really sometimes cannot see over the front of the car. So I don't know who designed these vehicles, but whoever designed them did not think about short people. Really. Nina, I just missed that. I don't know what it was you said, but please do repeat. Okay. Oh, well, oh my goodness, the man himself did it. I'm sure he's dancing. Let's go to Sydney.
I am now trying by all means to follow Kalamba, who is slowly right in front of me, moving down the hill at the moment. I can see Kalamba going downhill, and please don't get surprised. I am not alone at the sighting. There is other vehicles here with me, but I can see that I'm going to get a chance for a better visual. So Kalamba is just right here in front of us, and we will see Kalamba just now. She is now slowly going up, and there is a little bit of water somewhere high up here. So let's hope she's going to drink somewhere there. So you can see there is Kalamba. Don't get surprised with the spotlights. It's the other vehicles who are shining the spotlight on Kalamba. This is a lovely sighting. We have been looking for the leopard almost all day long. And now we are lucky we found Kalamba. So maybe Kalamba is now coming here to this little opening where there is some water. So we will improve this sighting from this direction. Yeah, makeup girl, this is a gorgeous cat, and I'm sure she's coming from this side. I can hear the other animal seems to be worried about the presence of leopards here. I can hear the baboons are making noise at the moment. So she just Mrs. Leftwing, thank you very, very much for such a comment. But now she just got disappeared right here somewhere in front of me. She just got disappeared. Oh, here she is. Here she is, right here by this gap. You can see there she is now. And this is so cute. So I don't know if those baboons who are calling because of her presence, or there is any other leopard in the area. So look at the tips of this beautiful leopard. Look at that. So you can see now she is moving forward a little bit, and I'm gonna try also follow her as this is happening right here. Where she's going is not far at the moment. Ooh. So I can see that she is now heading much more towards the drainage line. And it has been a lovely afternoon, although it was not easy to find the animals, but at least we managed to find something for you. But I've got something here by the tree. Look at that. We've got a very beautiful owl. This looks like a giant eagle owl. So this is one of those beautiful ones. And thank you very, very much for all your questions and comments. Let's meet again tomorrow morning.